He's a man who wants to be where he's not, which is a dangerous place for a strong young male to be mentally, because he can cause a lot of damage. And he doesn't like that he lives at home and lives under this rock, and he's in the Bureau of Investigation, but he has no power, and he has all these ideas. He has aspirations to have a grander scheme in his own life, and then he meets, and then all of a sudden he sees these sort of shiny objects, these con artists that are so good at what they do, and they dress different than he is, and they look like their life is sexy, and so he just kind of wants to become them. Part of this guy's story is he falls in love with a girl, you know, and he really does. He just doesn't have the tools to deal with it. When she finally says, okay, you know what, I'm going to take my layers off, here's who I am, he has no clue how to deal with it. He was trying to show off for her. He's trying to tell her, like, look what I did. I set this thing up to try to torture you. You know what I mean? Like, it was my idea. Like, he wants her to know that it's like him. Like, he's controlling this whole thing. That's his other thing. He wants you to know that, like, I did this. I did this, which is that's a pretty problematic place to be if you're constantly wanting that affirmation for people to know that you're making these decisions. But no, his love for her is pure. That is not a manipulation when he says, I like you. I mean, he really is like a kid. He's like, so I'm not supposed to say this, but I like you. He wrote a very specific script, very strict guidelines, and then he rewrites stuff on the day but everything is very relative to what's relevant to the story he wants to tell. So it's not sort of this like, yeah, let's do this and let's try this. No, it just happens to be happening in the moment. He's making these decisions now, and then he wants you to respond now and be able to dive in now. So it's almost as if everything is happening in the very moment that we're doing it. Amy is incredible, and our stuff is sick. In terms of like the experience, it was just so easy. It was very easy with her. It all flowed. There's very few scenes that Richie and Sydney have together to create this whole relationship in terms of how much space in the movie they have. And I think we were able to really pack in a lot of information for the audience in these short scenes, and that's because it was so easy for us to work together. With Christian, I was just sort of so amazed that I was standing with this man that I love as an actor in movies in the same room with him, as Richie Dimaso, and he as Irving Rosenfeld. I loved when we got to just get into it. It was kind of wonderful. And hopefully they'll enjoy the magical moments of the movie. That's what I enjoy. The singing of Delilah, the nail polish scene into the Studio 54. I love that whole section of the movie. Is very special. Seeing Richie at home in his element, eating chicken on the toilet in the bathroom. You don't really see that. Seeing the home life of Irving and Rosalind. Seeing that scene with Rosalind and Jack Houston. When she says change, I don't like change is hard for me. That moment is just incredible.